Ooh, this is getting crazy. So we aren't going anywhere today, but I did want to sit down and film some content for you guys. So we are going to be following along with Uche's makeup school that she has over on her TikTok. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about or haven't seen that makeup class, definitely check it out. It's worth watching. There's a lot of gems within the different videos. She breaks it up into about 11 episodes. And I took my notes. So we're going to see what we come up with and if we can achieve something similar to hers. The only thing that I won't be doing is the eyeshadow and the lip combo, because you guys know I'm not a lip combo girly. So she does start by priming, and she does use 2 different primers. I don't have either primer that she used, so I'm just going to use 2 of my own, and I think I'm going to go with the Bobbi Brown as well as the new MAC primer that I got, the moisturizing and illuminating primer. But of course we're going to start with this one from Bobbi Brown, and I'm just gonna put this all over my face. I feel like the first primer she used was more like a moisturizer, although I've never used that primer before, so I think this should work. My skin is literally so soft. It feels like I rubbed butter on my skin. And as we all know, your makeup is only gonna look as good as the skin underneath, so obviously you gotta make sure you prep your skin really well. I did my skincare already, so we're just priming now. And then before she goes into her next primer, she does allow the first one to kind of sit and sink into the skin. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to start sculpting my brows. I'm going to use my Rare Beauty brow gel. You guys know I'm obsessed with this at the moment. And she did use the Refi Brow Sculpt. I've used their pencil, as you guys know, and I really love the pencil. But watching her video made me really want to try the brow sculpt. I can't talk. So the brows are done, and then we're going to clean them up with some concealer. I'm going to be using my OG concealer, NARS Soft Matte, in the shade Sucre de Orge. And I need a brush for this, and I'm just going to sculpt them out, but I'm also going to drag the product down onto the lid because I do want to prep them for shadow, and this is basically my primer for shadow. So as I said, for the second primer, I'm going to be using this one from MAC. I'm only going to be taking a little of this, and I'm not going to put it on my entire face. I'm just going to focus it on the outer perimeter of my face. Not that it's not good everywhere, but honestly, I like a matte T-zone, so there's really no point in putting an illuminating primer in that area, especially if we technically already primed with one thing. So the one product is kind of good enough, but just a little of that. And then we get to the foundation, and that's where things are a little scary. So she did use 2 foundations that she mixed together. So I have the NARS Soft Matte, which she used. She also used the Natural Radiant Longwear foundation. I used to be obsessed with that. I had 2 different shades, and I used to mix them. I'm going to actually be using the Light Reflecting foundation because I no longer have that Longwear one, and I have not gotten around to repurchasing it because I'm always trying out products. So I'm just going to mix a small amount of both of these products on the back of my hand, and she uses a flat brush. I have one. This is the only flat brush I have in my collection, and literally she just like basically paints it on her face. For reference, I'm using ARUBA in the soft matte, and I'm using Stromboli in the light reflecting foundation. And she actually uses her foundation to kind of sculpt the top of her brows. For concealer, I'm going to be using the HAUS Labs concealer. Now I know this is not brightening, but we are going to be using more than one concealer anyway, so it'll be alright. So I'm going to pop this in the inner corner. She doesn't apply too much. She does a little bit on the outer part of the eye. She does drag it down her nose, and then she does like this little flick on the edge of the nose. So right in this area, which is probably hard for you guys to see because like I said, this concealer is not brightening. Now that's all the concealer that we're going to apply. So again, it was the inner corner, the out, then right in here, kind of like down the nose. I kind of do that anyways, and then what she considers the landing strip, the center of the nose. Then we're going to take our cream contour, or bronzer in this case. This is the NARS Laguna bronzer. She used the same one, and I'm going to apply that. She does say that like the whole purpose for her applying her cream on her cheekbone is to give room for blending out, which I think is pretty genius. That actually makes sense versus doing it underneath or above. And then I'm going to blend this side out and just pray that this doesn't look too crazy. Now the one thing I am missing, she did take some of her cream bronzer and she applied this to her upper lip. She said she does not blend this out. She lets it do its own thing basically. So we're just going to leave it like that and pray that that's not how it looks at the end of this freaking makeup look. But I naturally apply down here to make my bottom lip look a little bigger. So we'll see what the difference is between top and bottom, but I've never done that before. So now we're going to go in with the lighter concealer. I'm going to take the NARS Soft Matte Maroon Glaze is the shade I'm going to use for brightening, which I typically enjoy using for a brightening concealer anyway. So nothing new there. And I guess I just use the same concealer brush and just pop that in the inner corner. Now this, she did not let sit. She immediately kind of blended it out once she applied it. So we're going to do the same. We're not going to let this sit for real. All right, to set this layer of product, we're going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Flawless Filter setting spray, I think, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and use my banana bread powder from Huda, just like she used, since I do have it. And I'm going to use this brush. This is the Morphe M523 brush. She did use some kind of brush to set her under eye, but I don't have what she has, so we're going to make it work. I probably go on top, though, with my puff, because you guys know I like to set with that. I like to blend out with it. I like to set with it. Oh, this is getting crazy. Maybe we should use the puff. The brush is just a little too much for me personally. Alright, next we're going to move into bronzer. She didn't really specify what bronzer she was using, at least I don't recall that. So I'm just going to use my HAUS Labs bronzer. This is in Deep Level 9. It is more of a cool tone bronzer and also more contour-like, but it's just personally what I like. So we're just going to just apply that where we put the cream bronzer and just do like a light layer, I guess. Take a little bit and apply it right in here as well. Just basically all the places that we applied the cream bronzer at, we want to just kind of like apply this. She did take the One Size powder and she applied it under the eyes only, basically like a brightening powder. So I'm just going to take a little of this, and again, I'm using my puff because that's what works best for me. And I'm just going to tap it underneath the eyes. And then we can move into setting it one more time. I think I'm going to go with, because I don't have the spray she used, I think I'm going to go with the Charlotte Tilbury once more. Here it is. It's in my face. Just to make sure all the powders are melted down and everything looks good. I don't know about y'all, but for me, that Charlotte Tilbury setting spray is good, but it stinks. I do not enjoy the smell of that. Good thing though, it doesn't linger or anything, but when you initially spray it, I can't get with it. Okay, so now is when she kind of goes into the eyes and she does like a little eyeshadow with black shadow. We're not doing all that. So as far as like her makeup class, this is as far as I'm gonna go.